Hey, this is Jonah Mitchell. I play soccer at South Doyle, and this is No Playbook Podcast.
Hey, thanks for checking out the show. It's the podcast featuring the outstanding athletes, coaches, and experts from East Tennessee. This episode sponsored by Stinnett Collision and Loco Burrow Tex-Mex Cantina at Westtown Mall. Joining me on the show today is Jonah Mitchell, a guy who joins a very select group of folks that have ever appeared on this show more than once. Jonah joins me to talk about his recruiting experience, South Doyle's championship soccer season, the spring of 24, and he talks about something that very few people know about him. I'll get to Jonah Mitchell right after this. Sit tight.
Hi, I'm Zach Stinnett, third-generation owner of Stinnett Collision. As a proud supporter of Tennessee athletics, we know that every game counts. When a collision puts you out of play, we're here to get you back in the game. Family owned since 1965, Stinnett Collision now has locations in Maryville and Sevierville. With double the space and a team of certified technicians, we'll tackle your repairs and get you back on the road in no time. Don't let a collision sideline you. Visit Stinnett Collision today.
What's up, everybody? I'm Zakai Ziegler. I'm here at the Loco Burrow here at Westtown Mall. I'm showing the people how to make a fresh tortilla. So at Loco Burrow, they make fresh tortillas. This is how you do it. Put in some flour, shake it out. Boom. And that's how the magic happens. Pretty nice scenery here at the rooftop of Westtown Mall. I'm liking the vibe. Little chill vibe, chill area. Oh! Yeah, I'm a little nervous. Thank you so much. No, that's good. If you come to Loco Burrow and use my name, you'll be able to get 10% off. So make sure you stop on by. I might be the best cook on the team. Think that's good?
Yep, you can go ahead and flip it. Hands, please.
Chef Boy RZ.
Today?
Oh, they're going pretty well. Been a kind of busy day, but it's good to sit down and relax now.
What's a Sunday like for you, your senior year of high school?
Senior year of high school, it's normally going to church. I serve in the kids ministry at my church. I teach fourth and fifth graders on Sunday mornings. I run the tech team for that. But this week was a little bit different. I'd been at a ministry conference at Johnson University all weekend. So went to bed last night around like 12:30 in the morning. Got up for a little before 8. So a little exhausted today. But yeah, it's been a fun weekend. So
what was that whole thing like at Johnson?
So it's a conference for students who felt the call into ministry to go serve as maybe like a youth minister or pastor or a missionary or anything like the sorts of that. So it's been
that
cool
your
to
path,
surround myself. That's my path that I'm going to follow going into college, then going out after college. I'm hoping to maybe start as a youth pastor, but then work my way up to a senior pastor role of a church. Yeah.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, is Young Life still a thing?
Young Life is still a thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty big at our school. That and FCA are the two big things at Southwell.
Got it. I was a part of Young Life back in the day. I remember that being really cool. You know, it was also just a fun social opportunity.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So you're one of the few people that's made multiple appearances on the podcast.
Let's go.
Just a couple of names. Joshua Dobbs is one that
there we go.
Joins you. Yeah.
Similar company. I'll take me on a list with him any day of the week.
Yeah. First of all, let's talk about, so that first time you joined me was very brief, but it was at Mayor Glenn Jacobs' Night of Champions event. Talk about what that event was like for you. He's been doing it every year for a few years. Just from your perspective, how was that?
It was something really cool to be a part of. Obviously, South Doyle never won a state championship on the guys' side in school history. It was the first state championship we'd won since 1991, which was the first year of South Doyle High School being a school. So that was pretty special for our guys team to be able to go represent our school, our community, and then our families and everything like that at an event like that. We felt really loved by the community and by Mayor Jacobs to have the opportunity to come and rep our team, rep our jerseys, rep our community in a space along other athletes that have gone and done the same for theirs.
Yeah. I remember the South Doyle crowd too being pretty
Oh yeah,
rowdy.
they're that's how they were all season too. Getting behind us. Of course, our boys are they're nuts, but we love each other a lot and support each other any way we can. So of course, we're gonna go crazy anytime our guys are on a stage like that.
Yeah. So of course I want to hear about that state championship run, but
Mhm.
one of the stories I really loved was how in the state championship game you guys fell behind. What was it, like
Yeah.
30 seconds in, had to fight back.
Yeah, like 28 seconds into the game, one of our guys, I think he kind of like fell into one of their wingers on my left side. So it was about like 40 yards out. They had a free kick that kind of like floated in to the back side of our box. We had a little miscommunication on our defensive side between me and some of my teammates, and it led to a really early goal. But I think we did good to pick our heads back up and know, hey, that's not the end. We've gone down before and fought back from that. But really, all the way till halftime, it had been like just fighting to stay in the game. Uh, the speech at halftime, it was a little different. It was something that we hadn't heard really all year. A lot of us were kind of bickering with each other a little bit, knowing that we can go out and do better. But it was like finding the will into the way. So we get back out and we all huddle up again before the half starts, and we're like, "Hey, listen, let's just go win it. What do we have to lose? Last game of the season. Let's go win it for the team. Let's go win it for the community. We've never done this before. It's like we haven't come all this way to just lose now. So we come out in the second half and fight back after we put the first goal in. I was like, this if it's PKs, if it's golden goal, whatever it may be, in overtime, we'll go and win it then. But then we put a second goal in. It was the longest like 12 minutes of my life until that buzzer rang before the state championship was given to us. So that was a very cool experience. I'm very humbled to be a part of that.
So what is that halftime speech like? Is it you know, trying to muster up the courage, I guess, and the focus? I don't know. Walk me through or is it the team taking control, or is it the coach?
So both our head coach and one of our assistant coaches are both my uncles. So seeing their talks at halftime are very different sometimes than how I can see them back at home, maybe at like a Christmas party or something like that. So seeing the fire get lit under them and them trying to light a fire under us at halftime is it's pretty funny sometimes because I can take a step back and just compare the two. But yeah, that halftime it started out as the coaches trying to push us to be the best forms of ourselves. They know that that was not the best half that we played all year, especially like game before that when we played Station Camp. Obviously, we showed a better outing in that game than we did in the first half of Greenville. But they were like, "Hey, you guys can do better." And then we had about 3 minutes of halftime left, as we normally do with our team meetings at halftime. So then it kind of turns over to us players talking to each other and wanting to lift each other up, make each other better in the second half. And that's what it kind of turned over to. So it split up into some of our guys talking to others. The Strasvogel brothers are really keen about talking to each other, and then Cameron Harp as well. They've grown up with each other, live in the same neighborhood. So they like to talk to each other a lot. I like to get together with my back line and my holding mids, whether it's Turner Williams, Landon Walker, or my brother Isaiah Mitchell. We like to get together and talk as a defensive half and analyze what's kind of happened in the first half and try to go from there. How we can build out of the back more, how we can support each other, and especially in that game, how can we communicate better was the big key going back out in the second half is communication and moving the ball around different than we had in the first half.
You know, I'm just thinking of something because also you kick for the football team, right?
Yeah.
So being the back guy, playing goalkeeper, giving up goals, I would imagine that takes quite a mentally healthy person to have ice in your veins to kick on Friday nights, but then also not saying anything, but like there can be times when there's a goal scored where I'm sure you're like, crap, that was my fault.
Yep.
Even if it wasn't, it's going to be hard to fight through that and still stay focused. How do you stay mentally healthy for both of those tasks?
I loved the Ted Lasso series where his whole piece of advice was be a goldfish. That's something me and my uncles, me and my brother had to fill in for me when I'd torn everything in my knee and went and had surgery. So he had to fill in for me the first half of the season. I think he struggles a little bit more with that than I do. I've kind of gotten used to it and have a quicker like goldfish mentality if something's scoring me, if or I miss a kick. But yeah, just forgetting that it happened, knowing that like, hey, there's still a lot more game left to be played usually. So knowing that you can come back and bounce back and fight back. And what my mom and especially my grandma, she loves to support me and has learned a lot about soccer in the time that me and my brother have been playing. But even after what I feel like has been a really bad game for me, they tell me like, "Hey, I had to go through 10 other guys to get back to you. And then if you can't stop it, who cares?" But of course, I take a little bit more pride in my shot stopping ability than they might. So if I'm beating myself up, I just try to make it like the next play mentality. Try to be a goldfish, like Ted Lasso says.
Yeah, yeah. I had Ali Zazzara on, the goalkeeper for uh, Tennessee, Lady Vols.
Yep.
She was on the show recently and talking about everything involved as a goalkeeper when it comes to angles and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff. Does that take a long time to learn as a goalkeeper?
It took me a little bit. So I didn't really have a goalkeeper coach growing up. Um, so one of our assistant coaches on the high school team started coaching me when I think I was in fifth grade. It was like my first year playing like actual like goalkeeper. So he was the first one to teach me kind of about angles in the goal. Him and my dad were. Um, so from fifth grade all the way through like sixth, seventh grade maybe was really picking up like the fundamentals of goalkeeping, like how to dive correctly, what are the angles are in goal, and when to transition, and how to know where I am in the frame. So I'd say the angles in goal are super important and how you're able to just prepare yourself for what the attack is and how the attack's coming on you.
Now, what about that extra training? So I'm sure you
Mm,
do a little bit more even beyond what you get just at, South Doyle practice.
yeah. Uh, so I got to practice with Johnson's keepers a few different times, and they're all great. One guy's name's Toby. He's from Uruguay. Another guy's name's Bruno. He's from Brazil. And of course, those guys bring some different expertise coming from different international countries and getting to bring what they've been taught there and kind of help me out a little bit was really cool. This fall is when I got to do that. There's a guy who he was a foreign exchange student a few years before I got into high school. He's from Germany. His name's Jonas Mitchell. He's a great guy that I've been able to talk to, help analyze film with me, and just being able to talk to him about goalkeeping strategies, how he does things over in Germany, how he's coached over in Germany, and translate things back over to how I'm playing goalkeeper here at Southwell. So that's been pretty helpful in my time at Southwell as well.
When you hear the different perspectives, like
Mhm.
folks that play in other leagues, other countries, has there ever been contradicting advice?
Yeah, I think a lot more in like the Hispanic countries, like Uruguay, Argentina, any countries like that. I think their play style is a lot more aggressive, whereas maybe in Europe they like to play out of the back a little bit more. So maybe a little bit more of like a passive or in another sense, maybe an aggressive sense in different countries. So trying to make a bridge between that and try to be a good bridge between that here in the States, it can be a little challenging. I think it also depends on what your team is and what your team needs out of you is kind of how the bridge comes, which I think our team is a great sense of both and our sense of diversity on the team. With our state championship team, we had Anestis Terakidis, who came from Germany and Greece over there. And then we've got Roger Osagara Cruz, who's from Honduras on our team. So having a European and a Hispanic player makes things a little bit different. One likes to play a little bit more quick. Anestis would always be yelling at me to throw the ball out to his feet. Roger would be telling me to slow down at the same time. So having to play a little bit as like a quarterback back in the 18-yard box was a little bit challenging this season, but it was a cool thing to be a part of.
Now, that's a funny thing that a lot of people don't realize. They think goalkeeping is just, protecting the net, but your
Yep.
distributions are such a big part of it as well.
Mm,
Um, so I want to hear about your recruiting experience, what you've
okay.
kind of learned or been through so far.
Yeah. So a lot of my recruiting process has been trying to figure out what I'm wanting to do in college and after college. So feeling God's calling on my life to be a minister in His church has has made me like kind of narrow down my recruiting process, which of course every school doesn't offer what I want to go study as wanting to be a pastor. So I need to go find a school that has a program for ministry, whether it's youth ministry, pastoral and church leadership, preaching, church leadership, something like that. So a big school in our area, of course, is Johnson University. I've been talking with their coach for a while. I got an offer a while back. They've been on my radar for a long time. It's been a school that I've my uncle Johnny played at, who's their assistant coach at Southwell. He'd played there in the past, so I was hoping to get an offer from them all the way from my freshman year on. But and then other schools open up in the area, in the like eastern area, like maybe Montreat College or Truett McConnell University. I went down and visited Pensacola Christian College over fall break, got to practice with their team. And then, of course, there's other schools I've gotten offers from, like Boyce College at Southern Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, and then Spurgeon College at Midwestern Seminary in Kansas City. Seeing those teams in their diverse play has been kind of another key factor in determining whether, like, all their academics are great, and they all are great in their own different ways. But then where they meet academically, then you can start putting soccer at the next spot. Of course, you got to get your academics first, then maybe go for your athletics. So now that I've like narrowed down some schools academically, now I can start looking athletically. And that's been pretty fun recently, going and practicing with different teams and going and seeing their team environments and how their coaches get to love on their players has been the next key piece in my recruiting process.
Now, all those schools you mentioned,
Mhm.
did you reach out? Were you aggressive in going to them and saying, "Hey, I'm interested," or did they come to you?
It's been a little bit of a mix of both. I think for Spurgeon College at Midwestern, they reached out after the state semifinal game, after we had played station camp. I had an email from their head coach named Matt Risher, and then got in touch with their assistant coach, Jared Dean. It's been a very them pursuing me process. And then, of course, I fell in love with their school, so I've started reaching out more too. Uh, Johnson, I think, is a school that I had to go after initially, and stay in communication with their coach. And those schools are a little bit different that way. Boyce College is the same way as Johnson. I've had to go and pursue talking to their coach a little bit more. Pensacola Christian, it's been a little even with both. He's reached out. I've reached out. The same with Truett McConnell and places like that. All coaches have been great with communicating in their own way, some better than others. Some have been able to get on more phone calls, more emails, more text messages from them. But each one in their own way, some are better than reaching out than others. And you definitely have to go and pursue a conversation with them to some extent, at least to jumpstart or kickstart the process for sure.
Yeah. So when do you plan on making like an official commitment?
Hopefully here pretty soon. I think I've narrowed it down to three-ish schools, and just waiting to hear some final offers from like one or two more schools, and maybe going to visit one more before I make a commitment. But I'm hoping to have one finalized and be committed and signed pretty soon, maybe before the start of high school season.
Excellent. That'll make that season a
Yep.
little more fun, I think.
Yeah, a little less stressful.
Right, right. So, Jonah, share with me one thing that very few people know about you.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll give a little lighthearted one than a deeper one. I'm left-handed, so I go and sit down at a table in classes, and people are expanding, like putting their books out, and they're ready for another right-handed person next to them. So when I come and sit down, I'm left-handed. We're like rubbing elbows the entire time, and it makes the little things a little frustrating in the classroom. But a little bit more heavy-hearted one is definitely that I'm called to be a pastor. Sometimes it takes the breath out of some conversations. So I don't think it's a thing that everybody knows, but it's a thing that I like to make known, especially because I want to be bold about it, and I want people to feel comfortable around people like that, and want to feel people to feel comfortable around the church.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because you're very well spoken, and I wonder how much goes into like, was there a part where you said, "No, I want to do this," or was there also a time when you got an opportunity to speak with kids or something, and you thought, "Hey, I think I could do this really well."
So I used to hate public speaking, like especially like middle school and like elementary school. We used to have to do like book talks all the time. I'd have like my mom like helping me write them, and to be honest, she'd probably write the majority of them. But then there's a switch in like early high school. I've always had this passion to like help others. So like, of course, growing up, everybody wants to be a doctor. Everybody wants to be like in the military or a firefighter. My passion was always to help others. It was a firefighter or a certified respiratory nurse anesthetist for all of high school, all the way to like the end of junior year. And there's a switch where I've been helping in the kids ministry at my church, and with FCA at my school. I've been able to lead that for all my time in high school, and just speaking experience with those kids in my church and the peers at my school have given me the confidence and just the speaking ability to go out and just do great things for the Lord.
It's awesome, man. I wish you
Mhm.
the best of luck there.
Well, thank you.
So one thing everybody gets at the end of the show, share with me one unforgettable sports memory for you. I think I know what it's going to be, but not just as an athlete, but also one as a spectator.
As a spectator, I mean, I got to go back to Tennessee's win. I think it was 2 years ago when we first beat Alabama at home. I remember I was sitting at the house, and like their kicker hadn't been doing great that night, and where I'm a kicker too. Like, of course, like I should feel bad for him, but I don't because I'm a Tennessee fan. I had like everybody had those like fans up. I was like holding up to the TV, like trying to help blow the ball out of the field goal. But when we won that year, we jumped in the car quick, drove down to downtown, went try to find the field goal post, and got to walk up and down Cumberland Avenue with all the like the students of the school there, with all the like the streets shut down, all like the Alabama fans trying to leave and get out of there, getting Rocky Top sung in their face. That was a pretty cool experience as a fan, being able to be in Knoxville during that time.
How sick do you think Alabama fans are getting of goalposts getting torn down when they lose? Because it happened twice even this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got some friends of mine who are Alabama fans, and they always tell me they're sick and tired of hearing me and my brother like text them and call them after they get beat any week it is. I guess it's just where it's been a heated rivalry for longer than we've been alive. So I'm sure they've got to be sick of it now. It's been like multiple years of the goalposts getting torn out of them. I was happy to see uh, Georgia get stormed the field on when they were playing Ole Miss this week. I thought that was pretty cool too. I got to one of my roommates at the ministry conference I was at this weekend was a Georgia fan, so I got to rub it in his face too. And he was pretty sick and tired of hearing it by the end of the weekend too.
Absolutely. And I'd imagine you're one as an athlete, it's going to be a state championship game.
Oh, 100%. The state championship game was a really cool thing to be a part of. And then here recently, where we got our rings at our football game, I think it was 2 weeks ago. That was really cool. Getting the rings presented. Mine was presented by Pat Robinette and his wife, who were two big names. He's a huge name in the South Knoxville community. He's a big name within the FCA. So getting the ring presented by somebody who's like associated with me, not only through South Doyle, but also through FCA was really cool. And a meaningful experience for me. The whole state championship like ride, whether it's been from May all the way through now, it still doesn't feel weird. It still doesn't feel real to me yet. But when I go into my room and sit at my desk and I see my ring sitting up on the desk and the medal and everything else, it reminds me that it's real, and it's still such a cool experience.
How often are you going to wear that ring?
I mean, definitely when I come back to games after I graduate, I've got to wear the ring. I might take it with me wherever. I'll definitely take it with me wherever I go to college, and maybe flex it on my friends there who maybe didn't get to win a state championship, or if they won a state championship, we might compare rings. And of course, mine's gonna be better because it's a South Bowl ring compared to their rings.
Yeah, that ought to be like flashing the ring should be like I get into every sporting event for free for the rest of my life.
100%. It should get you in anywhere you want to go, especially to the LSAA. It will definitely get me in anytime I want to come back to South Bowl, though. I think it'll be like Charles Campbell when he kicked that game-winning kick at UT. I'm sure he doesn't have to pay for a meal in Knoxville when he's back here anytime anymore. So I'm hoping I don't have to pay for another game to come back and watch the Keys play after I graduate.
There you go. That's great, man. I really appreciate your time. Wish you best of luck, and I'll have this out in a couple of weeks.
Sweet. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. See you.
See you, Jonah.